not feelings.
It's facts, not feelings. Wanted to be the hero, but turned into the villain. Something like the Penguin, never like Bruce Wayne. I came from the gutter, not addicted to the fame, but the streets know my name, beat them at their own game. 20 years later, claim the head of the table. I'm my brother's keeper, but more Cain than Abel. Eliminate your brother and I'm the tribal boss. I murdered so many tribes, calling Trap Lord wrong. It's a scary story, son and all these rappers sending them the moral. Never did it for the glory or the hot taste, did it for Grandma Ruby, who said I was special right out the gate. So continue to hate when you failed to see. You took your best shot and you bricked your three. The BSO legacy like the Bulls dynasty. My G, it looks like you need some milk. Let me call RG3. These are facts, not feelings. 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 It's the Headline King Robert Littal. Ooh, back in the day, this was considered a video game, believe it or not. If you had one of these electric football games back in the day, your mom and your dad really loved you if you had something like that. I'll point this out to let you know that we're in different times now. When I grew up, the rap battles were legendary. I grew up on LL Cool J and Kool Moe Dee and KRS-One and the Juice Crew. As you went along, Jay-Z and Nas and Cannabis and LL Cool J, DMX and Jay-Z. I grew up in a time where diss records were the norm. So it's a little surprising to me when I woke up yesterday and saw that Drake had sued his record company over losing his battle to Kendrick Lamar. I went and read the lawsuit because I'm a person that likes to look at situations. You always look at the situations, eliminate the names, and look at the situation. And the situation is very interesting in the sense that what Drake is accusing his record label of is basically something that's been happening in the record industry since the record industry existed. Payola. Basically, the record industry determines and decides what's a hit and what's not a hit. Every once in a while, you get something that happens organically, but 99% of the time, they tell you what you're going to like and you like it. And Drake is actually bringing that to light. Now, he's doing it at his own expense because Drake also was a chosen one. And some of these practices, I'm sure, have been used to help him over the years. So he's exposing an industry that has been exposed 100 times over. Now, does that mean that things are going to change? Probably not. Is he destroying his career by this? We have to see. But the fact of the matter is the things that he's accusing his record company of are not unusual. Taking a little less from the streaming services to get a little more plays, sliding a little money to the record station, the radio stations to get a little more play, spending a lot of money in promotion, making sure they're pushing out these streams, pushing out these radio plays. Ain't no different than Elvis. There's no different than a lot of these, boy bands from back in the day. If you know how to manipulate the system and you have enough money, you can make anything into a hit. That's why a lot of hits are from people that can't sing or can't rap. But they told you that this person is going to be a star. This person is going to have the number one album in the country. I remember when DJ Khaled was upset. He had did some things and wasn't the number one album. He got really, really upset that the things that he done didn't work out, for him. I find Drake interesting in the sense that I have a theory. This is just my theory. My theory is any black man, or black woman, to be perfectly honest with you, that gets too successful in society, and Drake is black, cut it out, that gets too successful in society, our culture likes to bring them down a notch. Our culture likes to bring them down a notch. Now, sometimes that's justified, other times it's not. You have to decide if it's justified with Drake. But I feel that Drake got to a certain level that the culture decided that he needed to be humble. So it wasn't even so much that Kendrick Lamar had better songs than him or better disses than him. They just used Kendrick Lamar as their weapon against Drake. He's a good weapon to use because he's kind of the opposite of Drake. Even though they're using the same type of tactics, they're making the same type of money. They're getting the same advantages from the record label. But perception-wise, Kendrick Lamar is different than Drake. So it was used as a weapon to humble Drake. And Drake's not taking it very well. Ideally, what he should have did was the same thing that Rick Ross did when 50 Cent exposed him. Just don't do nothing. Lay low for a year, drop an album with some heat, and everybody moves on and forget that you're a correction officer. Go you buy you some wing stops or some Starbucks in Canada, whatever. Bob Horton, Will Horton, James Horton. It's one of them Hortons in Canada. I had some there. It's good coffee. Dan Horton, somebody tell me what type of Horton it is. Should have bought some Hortons, watched some Raptors basketball, and then just dropped some heat. And everything would have been fine. If I was him, I'd have just showed up in New Orleans at the Super Bowl and did a concert. You fight fire sometimes. You know how they say you fight fire with fire? Sometimes you fight fire with water. That's the best way to fight fire. I fight fire with fire. No. Water. Water douses the fire. Sometimes you take a L. Everybody takes L's in life. It's how you move on from that L, which is important. So Drake took the L, and I understand. He's probably like, my stuff is hotter than this. Once the culture had decided he was going to lose, he had already lost. Didn't matter the songs. Didn't matter what was said in the songs. The culture had decided it was time for him to take an L. And they didn't want Meek Mill to be the one that gave it to him. They didn't want Rick Ross to be the one to give it to him. They chose Kendrick Lamar as their weapon, their sword, to take off the head that is Drake. It's very interesting. These lawsuits will probably have long-reaching effects that go well past Drake and Kendrick Lamar. They're both millionaires. They both got a lot of money. They're both going to be fine. But maybe that local artist or that artist that needs a push because some of these rules have come to light and been exposed about what they're doing don't get the push that they need to get. The most important thing really here is nobody got shot. Nobody died. Nobody got beat up. Even though, if Drake and Kendrick decided to be on the undercard of Jake Paul, they probably can get 100 million viewers on Netflix. You're probably assuming that I am going to try to convince you one way or another if Jonathan Majors is an abuser. But no, that's not my place to do that. All I can do is present the facts, not feelings. And then however you feel about Jonathan Majors is up to you. The reason that I'm doing this video is to speak about the double standard in regards to second chances when it comes to Black men and Black women. Jonathan Majors was found guilty of reckless assault in the third degree and harassment. The reckless assault in the third degree is basically when him and his ex-girlfriend was in the car and she saw the text messages from another woman. He physically tried to get his phone back from her. The harassment is when he tried to get out the car, is when he pushed her physically back in the car. This is not me giving my opinion. These are the facts by the prosecution of what happened. There were some other charges that he was found not guilty of. He's found not guilty of intentional assault in the third degree and not guilty of aggravated harassment in the second degree. Those were the two most serious charges. There is surveillance video that you're seeing on your screen right now of Jonathan Majors running away from this white woman who is chasing him for several New York City blocks. Eventually, she ends up at the club using his credit card to buy drinks and have a good time with some friends that she met out in the street. Eventually, she ends up at Jonathan Majors' apartment, unconscious in his closet. That's when he calls the police, thinking that potentially she has harmed herself. The police come, they see some bruising on her, and then that's when they arrest Jonathan Majors. Those are the facts, not feelings. There are text messages and other individuals that have had altercations, I guess, with Jonathan Majors. Other individuals from when he was in college that didn't have good situations, with him. You read all about that if you want, and then make your determination of what you think of him as the person. When it comes, though, to second chances, we often state that America, the not so United States of America, is a land of opportunity, a land of second chances. Oftentimes, the Trump people talk about how they want to get back to the Christian ways of our country. They want the Bible in school. They want prayer back. Big part of the Bible, big part of Christianity, big part of religion is forgiveness. This, though, is something that's really hard to come by if you're a black man or black woman in America. If you make a mistake, which is if you're on this earth for a period of years, you're probably going to make a mistake. You're probably going to do some things that you regret, some things that you wish that you can take back. Normally, you ask for forgiveness. Normally, you ask for second chances. Unfortunately, you're a Black American, those are very difficult to come by. And I'm not singing a sad song for Jonathan Majors because he's still going to be able to do some movies. He still, is going to marry Megan Good. But the fact that Marvel decided to drop him so quickly, I found very interesting. Especially in the sense of when you watched the video and you looked over all the evidence that happened. It made me ponder, did Marvel drop Jonathan Majors because of what happened in this case, or did they drop Jonathan Majors because Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't do the numbers that they thought they were going to do? They didn't do the numbers that they thought they were going to do, probably because the movie is not that great. Has nothing to do with Jonathan Majors. Would Jonathan Majors have gotten a second chance if that movie had did $1 billion? If everybody was loving Kang the Conqueror? It's ironic that they brought back Robert Downey Jr., an individual that has spent actual time in jail, but was able to get a second chance. And to his credit, he took advantage of it. You see the guy that played the Flash. You could just Google his name and you will see a laundry list of different things. But he was able to finish that movie and be the star of it. On lower levels, unfortunately, Black Americans, if they happen to come across some trouble with the law, even when they're trying to get their life back together, it's very difficult for them to get jobs, opportunities. I was watching Unsolved Mysteries, not the new one on Netflix, but I was watching Unsolved Mysteries, the old one, from the 80s and the 90s. And there was this guy, and he had robbed a bank and shot somebody. So he was on the run for murder and robbery. Thanks to Unsolved Mysteries, they found the guy. That's great, right? But when they found the guy, what I found interesting, because he was a white guy, is that he owned a house and he owned a business. A person that was on the run from the law. Wasn't hiding his name or anything. Wasn't hiding his identity. But somehow or another was able to get business loans and home loans to own a property and to own a construction business. Someone had just murdered someone and robbed a bank less than 5 years ago. It's funny how that works. Can pretty much guarantee you if a brother was to shoot somebody and was to rob somebody, that you wouldn't find him in Idaho running a construction business. Second chances. We all deserve second chances, regardless of our skin color or orientation, gender, or whatever it may be. Jonathan Majors, in my opinion, should be brought back into the MCU. He should be given a second chance, the same way that Robert Downey Jr. was given a second chance. Now, third chances, okay, you've kind of blown it. But I think everybody should get second chances, especially Black Americans. I feel that as a people, we should be more forgiving of each other. Trump has 36 felonies, multiple lawsuits, filed for bankruptcy, hush money all over the place, incited a riot, incited people to try to overthrow the government. And he's the president again. No bigger second chance than that. I'm a big fan of Baker Mayfield. Even when he planted the flag at Ohio State, I didn't hold it against him. I like his swagger. He's kind of like a brother, but he doesn't get as much pushback for that. But that's another discussion for another day. I thought he was done dirty in Cleveland, to be perfectly honest with you. But he's bounced back at a career renaissance with the Tampa Bay Bucks. But he's dealing with some family drama right now. His pops, according to Baker, stole $12 million, American dollars, from him, and was doing whatever the hell he wanted with it. According to this lawsuit, it said the lawsuit says a collection of interconnected entities with common ownership transferred more than $12 million from Mayfield to themselves without authorization, proper documentation, or accurate accounting of the transactions. The defendants, which is his pops and his brother, then allegedly used the money however they desired, including to fund acquisitions or to cover general operating expenses, such as to meet payroll obligations, according to the lawsuit. Took the money out of Baker's and Emily's Mayfield's account. I get the feeling that it was Emily that figured this out. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't say specifically, but I figured Emily was checking the account one day and was like, hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We had $20 million in the Chase private client account last week, and now we only got 8. Something's not right with this. Something's not right, with this. I mean, shoot, 12 million. When he signed with the Cleveland Browns, he made $32 million. So you take the tax off of that and say maybe that goes down to 15. His dad basically took his whole rookie check. That's all of his money. Yeah, the 4 years, $32 million, included a $21.9 million signing bonus. That signing bonus after taxes probably was $12 million. And Pops took the entire $12 million. Never go in business with your family. That's the lesson to be learned. Never, ever. And The Rock means never go in business with your family. Like, what is Thanksgiving going to be like at the Mayfields? Is his dad and mom coming over? I know they hate Emily. Ooh, they hate Emily Mayfield. Emily's probably, hold on, this money ain't looking right. She went to go get her a Birkin bag or something. So that's not looking right. Granted, you would think that Baker would have noticed. I noticed they didn't take 12 million out all at one time, but that's what happens when you're rich. You got, you got 20 million in their account and you looking it's 19 million. Shoot, maybe somebody bought a car or something. You don't know. You gotta pay close attention to your money. You expect like your financial advisors and your agents and your managers, you expect them to be shady. But Pops and your brother, I'm sure Baker would have given Dad the money if he would have just asked. If Dad was having a problem with his business and said, "Hey man, hey Baker, look, I can't meet payroll today. Can you give me $1 million?" I'm sure Baker would have did it. He doesn't seem like the type of son that wouldn't do it. Man, it's gonna be some interesting over there. I know that mac and cheese don't got a lot of cheese on it. I know they turkey is now. Well, maybe I don't know. Bacon got a little brother in him, so maybe his turkey. His turkey will be seasoned, but that will be an interesting Thanksgiving conversation. This is the time that I let you know that we're sponsored by absolutely no one yet. Coming though, it's coming. It's getting these shows up and running. It's coming. If you can subscribe, you can help me out. You can subscribe on all of your podcast, channels, Spotify, Apple, Good Pods, wherever you want to be. Just look for the Headline King with Robert Littal and Facts, Not Feelings with Robert Littal. And also subscribe to Daniel Bell's podcast, The Final Bell. And also, all of these videos go up on BSO's YouTube, BSO TV. So be sure to subscribe to that. Leave some comments. I've been getting a lot of comments on what we did last week. I appreciate you. I try to respond to each and every comment on all the social media spaces and all the podcast places as well. You guys have a beautiful day.